In this video, we're going to take a look at using the EndNote Web Citation Manager. And so sometimes after we do a search, like the one that we created previously in the guide, we might want to save several of these articles. And what we can do is we can actually make use of the EndNote Web to save citations. We can use them to share with other EndNote Web users, and then we can also generate a references page from our citations. So to do that, you're going to have to be logged into the EndNote Web, and the link is on the research guide on the EndNote Web page. And once you have to be logged in before you start saving citations from databases or the OneSearch or any other search tool. And so we're logged in. This is what the initial page looks like. And so what we're going to do is going to go to our database. So we've done a search in PSYC, and every database is a little bit different. So I'll just show how EBSCO host databases do this. But essentially what you're going to do is once you find an article that you like, you click on that little blue folder with a plus on it, and we can just save them. I know some of these aren't articles, but we're just going to, for the sake of example, we'll just look at this and click on some of these. Okay, so once we have several of them, what we can do is go back up to the very top, and you'll notice this folder icon up here, and it's got papers in it because we've saved some articles. And what we're going to do is click on that, and just keep in mind that this is a temporary holding place. If you do come back to the APA PsycInfo after closing this browser out, these articles will not be saved for you. It's just sort of a temporary holding place. So you'll want to be sure to do something with these article records. Either email them to yourself, save them locally to your computer, or what we're going to do is actually export them to the EndNote Web application. And to do that, we basically select all of the items. Okay, and again, make sure you have the EndNote Web application open in another tab. And we just click on the export link there. And there are several other citation managers like EasyBib or Zotero, some other ones. What we're going to use is the direct export to EndNote Web. And there is actually a desktop version of EndNote, which I'm not going to show, but I do have links to getting that application from the university. So that has other capabilities. But I'm not going to show that in this video. I'll leave that to you to explore on your own. But we're going to select Direct Export to EndNote Web, and we're just going to save them. So it says number of items to be saved, 9. We're going to save them. And then if all goes well, we should get this confirmation page. EBSCO host import results, number of records imported, 9. Yay. So it did what we're expecting it to do. And what happens is, initially, you go back to the home page of EndNote, and this is where all of your references that you've previously have saved live. And initially, it shows up in this unfiled folder. Okay, so if we click on that, we can see all of those citations that we had just exported from PsycInfo, and now they are living in EndNote Web. Now, what we can do is we can create folders. So over here, I've got, they call them groups in EndNote, but I've got a few groups. So like kinesiology class that I was teaching a while ago, and then all of my citations actually got mixed up into this larger folder. But what we can do is we can actually select all of them, and from this drop-down, just select Add to Group. And so we can either select a folder that already exists, or we can create a new one. And so I think for our purposes, we'll just call it Psych 474, and we'll hit OK. And so it takes it away from that temporary holding folder, and then now notice we have this new Psych 474 group under our groups area. All right, so that's great. Now, the other thing that is really helpful about the EndNote Web is generating a references list. And we can do that by hovering over Format, clicking on Bibliography, and here we get to select various options. So first we're going to select references. So these are just where our citations live. So we're going to select PSYC 474. Bibliographic style. So there are many different citation styles for all sorts of different disciplines. We want APA, so we can just type APA. And even within APA, there's a bunch of variations. We're looking for APA 7th. That's the most recent. And then from here, we can select an output file format. So it doesn't really matter. These are basically just text files. Usually what I do is you can either save it or email it, or what I usually do is just click on the preview and print. And what happens is you're going to get a pop-up window, and it just gives you all of those citations that you just exported from PsycInfo and into the EndNote Web, and then we were just able to generate this references list. So notice everything is in alphabetical order, but do remember that these are all just coming straight from the database, so I can tell you they are not proper APA citations. Some of them look good, but like the first one, I can tell you that should not all be capitalized. So it does make errors, and you will need to take a look at that. So that's essentially how you would use the EndNote Web for saving citations as well as generating a references list. Now the other thing that you can do is you can actually, if you have, maybe you're working on a group project, you can click on these Manage My Groups, and you can actually share these folders with other EndNote Web users. So you can start sharing it, and then you have to put the person's email in there, and then you guys both have access, or whoever has access to this folder can add citations, etc. The other thing that you can do is you can also add PDFs to the citation. So if you wanted to, you had downloaded the PDF from the database, you could just upload it into EndNote Web, just as another way to store it. I mean, maybe you have your own way of doing this, but you can add file attachments as well. So that's essentially a really basic overview of EndNote Web.